Hi, welcome to MC University On Demand. My name's Eric. I'm one of the design engineers here at Mathews, and today we'll take a look at alarm set points and operational set points on an AccuDry machine with Pinnacle Lite. We'll take a look at each of the individual set points and we'll discuss how to find these values as well as how to adjust them. Let's get started. Alarm set points and operational set points provide the user with a framework with which they can control and constrain the operation of the dryer. Operational set points are used to give the dryer targets to operate within, while alarm set points have the ability to alert the user under a warning condition or shut down the dryer under a critical condition. Each of these set points can be found in their respective subchapters within the settings chapter, and the most common set points can also be found in the user guide. In this video, we'll explore the user guide and explain each of the common set points found there. All of the information found in the user guide can also be found in various other places, but these settings have been consolidated to create a short checklist of important information. It's a good idea to run through the user guide at the beginning of each drying season to ensure that the dryer is set properly. Doing so will prevent nuisance shutdowns and will improve the performance of the dryer. On the first page of the guide, you'll see a field for grain type. There are preset parameters for each of the different grains, so it's important to ensure that the correct grain type is selected. Once you have the right grain type selected, you can press the next button to continue. Now we will set the discharge moisture set point. This set point is the desired moisture content of the grain leaving the dryer. While you're discharging in AccuDry mode, the dryer will attempt to maintain this value by automatically adjusting the discharge speed. If you're discharging in manual or TrueDry mode, this value is not active. On page 3, there's a summary of all active plenums. On a multiple burner dryer, each plenum has its own temperature set point. The control valve on each manifold will adjust the gas flow to maintain that temperature. Make sure that all of these values are set appropriately. If you're operating a profile dryer with AccuDry, you'll also need to set your heat-cool indicators. A red box indicates a heat zone, while a blue box indicates a cooling zone. If you have to toggle a plenum from one mode to the other, tap on the box next to that plenum. Next, we have the mid-grain set point. This is the TrueDry equivalent to the discharge moisture set point in AccuDry. This is the desired average grain temperature at the mid-grain temperature probes. These probes are located near the midway point of the heat section, approximately in the middle of the grain column. While you're discharging in TrueDry mode, the dryer will attempt to maintain this average mid-grain temperature by automatically adjusting the discharge speed. If you're discharging in manual or AccuDry mode, this value is used only for alarm purposes. Here we can see two alarm settings related to the mid-grain set point. First, we have the mid-grain band. This is the maximum amount that the actual mid-grain temperature can deviate from the mid-grain set point. The mid-grain band warning alarm will activate if the actual mid-grain temperature is below this band for 30 seconds while discharging in TrueDry, or if the actual mid-grain temperature is above this band for more than 30 seconds, regardless of discharge status. Also on this screen is the mid-grain band delay. This allows the user to decide how long the mid-grain band warning alarm must be active before the dryer shuts down. Next, we have our minimum and maximum discharge speed set points. This allows the user to create a range that the dryer must operate within. While the dryer is discharging in TrueDry or AccuDry mode, it'll be able to freely change the discharge speed so long as it stays within these values. It's a good idea to know the capacity of your takeaway equipment so that you can set your maximum discharge speed. A common mistake is to over-constrain the dryer using these values. The minimum and maximum speeds are a useful tool, but they should only be used if there's a reason to do so in a given situation. If the reason for constraining the dryer has passed, it's important to remember to loosen these constraints so that the dryer can operate unrestricted. Pages 7 to 10 consist of a separate class of alarms that are specific to AccuDry. These alarms are unique in that the user can decide whether or not a critical alarm will shut down the dryer. Checking the Enable DM Shutdown checkbox will allow the user to decide exactly which critical alarms can shut down the dryer. If this box is not checked, the user will not see the option to enable critical alarm shutdown on future pages. Also on this page is the DM shutdown delay. This is the amount of time that an enabled critical alarm must be active before the dryer is shut down. Here we see a block of alarms which may seem overwhelming at first. It's important to realize that even though there are 8 set points on the screen, only 2 variables are being monitored: in-feed moisture and discharge moisture. For each variable, there's a 2x2 block of alarms, with warning and critical across the top and low and high down the side. Each 2x2 block of alarms defines a safe operating zone, with warning zones outside of the safe zone and critical zones outside of the warning zone. If a variable passes into a warning zone, a yellow warning alarm will appear to alert the user. If that variable continues into a critical zone, a red critical alarm will appear, and if that alarm is enabled, the dryer will shut down. When trying to adjust these variables, it's important to understand that each set point is constrained by those around them. For this reason, if you'd like to reduce a low warning alarm, you may first need to reduce a low critical alarm, because the low warning alarm cannot be below the low critical alarm. For example, if we would like to change our in-feed moisture low warning alarm from 17% down to 14%, we first need to change our critical alarm from 15% down to something below 14%. If we try to adjust our low warning alarm from 17 right now, we see that the minimum we can choose is 15%, or our critical set point. This same concept of a 2x2 block of alarms comes into play on all of the remaining AccuDry alarms. On page 9, we see alarms for the in-feed and discharge grain temperature, and on page 10, we see discharge rate and plenum temperature alarms. Remember, each of these set points are constrained by those around it. When you reach the final page, you'll be prompted to save all of the changes that you've made. You can now exit the user guide. During the drying season, you may want to adjust these set points without going through the whole guide. These set points can be found in the Settings chapter under the Alarm Set Points and Operational Set Points. For instance, if you'd like to adjust your in-feed moisture low warning alarm, you could go to the Settings chapter, tap on the Alarms Set Points, hit the Next button, and tap the white box next to the in-feed moisture low warning alarm. In the same manner, if you want to adjust your maximum discharge speed, you could click the Settings chapter, tap on Operational Set Points, and tap the white box next to the max discharge speed. You should now have an understanding of all of the set points in Pinnacle Lite. That's it for this video. Today, we've talked about alarm set points and operational set points on an AccuDry machine with Pinnacle Lite. If you have any questions or comments or ideas for a future video, you can email us at media@mathewscompany.com. As always, thanks for watching.